In the last videos, we learned what the Fediverse is, why it exists, top member platforms of the Fediverse, and how to join. Now we'll discuss if the Fediverse is right for you now, or if you should wait a bit. There are still many reasons not to join a federated site. For one thing, you only have a tiny group of peers, and most often no one you know. But you can meet a lot of different people, and you can quickly become a big fish in a little pond of 3 million people in the Fediverse if you post or do interesting things on it. It's best if you can get a local node with similar interests in a language that you understand and is in your country, unless you want to know more about another country and learn the language. Adding more content is better for everyone there. Do you want to be a little fish in a big oversaturated ocean, or a big fish in a tiny undersaturated void that's slowly trickling in water? Another issue is that it's pretty Wild West. Don't let your kids on it. Conspiracy nuts, science deniers, and preppers are among those who also love to use these networks. Groups can be pretty crazy. Also, it's really annoying in Friendica when you're scrolling the global network, and it's full of people who don't mark full frontal nudes not safe for work. I love nudity, just some of us have to keep our jobs. That said, the Wild West feel does bring old internet nostalgia days back when you discovered things for yourself and treasure hunted new things instead of Facebook telling me what they tested that would psychologically keep me online longer. Another serious issue is currently they're just made for browsers and do not have their own apps. You can use app clients, but they're in the early phases. I don't do Apple, so I can only tell you what's good on Android. The best one I found for Friendica is AnStatus, which allows you to run Mastodon, Friendica, and your existing Twitter feed and follow them all in the same stream. You can't do anything else, but you can post and reshare cross-platforms. I'm hoping they include a mirror option so that you can share a post to all the platforms at once. To use Friendica, go to Settings, Accounts, and Manage Social Networks. Then select one of the new with a G social networks, either DE or NO, and change the name to your node name. Then add an account and select the new social option to log into your Friendica account. Dica is another good one, but only useful for Friendica. There are around 20 app clients for Mastodon, so that's really easy to find. Pixelfed can run on any Mastodon app as well, which is very convenient. Peertube currently has a client called Thorium that you can pick your node, but it's sadly still got problems logging you into your own account. So yeah, it's still a bit clunky with issues. If you aren't good with computers and don't have time to try something new, don't bother yet. I just started trying it out again at the end of October, and it's been a huge learning curve. For people like this who still want to leave Facebook for ethical reasons, I highly recommend MeWe, as it's pretty easy to understand, and then slowly migrate away from Facebook and other social media giants. If you're a Twitter user, Mastodon's probably a good one to switch over to, as it's one of the easiest ones to get into, and will set you up in the future in the Fediverse. Getting your other computer illiterate friends over there so that our privacy and political integrity can be shored up is a good idea too. So it's a mixed bag and depends on the person as to if you want to use the Fediverse. I'm there and I'll have a Anubis 2814 as a member there, link below. This, like Wikipedia, is an anarchist ideal dream, and anarchists should completely support this. However, it's a bit of a mess in development still, and you have to live in a house being renovated for a while by volunteers and people working from donations. However, the social media platform took a while to become their best selves before money made them become their worst selves. Facebook is 15 years old, while Diaspora, which built all of this protocol the rest of the Fediverse grew from, is only 8, while Friendica is only 1. Twitter has 10 years on Mastodon. If we support it bit by bit, we can have a large social network in the next decade that is for and owned by we the people, and the corporations can't do anything with it other than to try and make money off of apps. In the future, I plan to run my own instance for Friendica and PeerTube, however, my clunker of a computer isn't really up to the task right now, as thanks to financial problems, it hasn't been replaced since 2010. I hope this was informative and puts a bug in your ear about these alternatives and what the future may hold. This has been an exhausting experiment, and now I post things to and from Facebook, MeWe, and Friendica, so that's fun. Time will tell how this goes, but something has to change or corporations are going to hold all of your data and know everything about you, isolate us all into internet bubbles, and half-assedly let trolls, bots, and Nazis disrupt all communication between people who may disagree on some things, but actually have a lot more in common than they realize, just that they have a different perspective or knowledge base to work with, and bubbles ensure that is never corrected. So thank you so much for joining me on my podcast. I'm sure there was nothing controversial about this, and everyone will happily get along in the comments section, which you can do on the YouTube version of this video, or my Facebook page, After School Democracy. Link in the show notes. Just a reminder that I'm Anubis2814 on YouTube, and I have over 500 videos on different topics that I've made over the past 10 years. Please subscribe, and if your podcast site has the option, give me a like or review. If you think what I have to say informed you, consider supporting my Patreon. I'll be doing this podcast weekly and try to get it out on the same day, so I hope to see you here next week, ready to be filled with new ideas. Take care. A big thank you goes out to Elias Garcia Guevara and Joe Taylor, who sponsor the show at $10 a month at the Wapawet level on Patreon. Please consider donating as well if you can, and thank you all for listening.